tension is rising and the cat fighting continues with the Yentas on The View. I have been telling you guys for months now about the ongoing tension between the Yentas. This is not just normal arguing. This isn't typical bickering between females and a flatulating whoopee cushion, which, by the way, and I might have shared this story before, but do you guys know how Karen Elaine Johnson became Whoopi Goldberg? Before she became a Yenta, Karen was attempting to be a stand-up comedian. Now, when you think of legendary stand-up comedians, you think of guys like Chris Rock, Steve Harvey, maybe Joan Rivers. Hell, Joan Rivers, she was the original inspiration for women. She was one of the first women to have a face that never moved. Unfortunately for Karen Johnson, she was not in that class of legendary comedians. Her comedy style was more similar to Travis Noah, Jim Kimmel, comedians who made you laugh at them instead of laughing with them. But anyway, the reason Karen made the courageous transition to Whoopi, it's because she used to play the boodle flute on stage. She would be performing at some dump where the only thing on tap was Old Milwaukee or brown water. In the middle of her set, she couldn't just walk off stage to flatulate. Instead, she would crank her leg and she would release her boodle breeze on stage. I'd be on stage performing, and all of a sudden, I'd get hit with the unstoppable breeze. One night, I was mid-sentence, and the breeze escaped my boodle. I told the audience, "Whoopee! That was me!" And the name Whoopi has stuck with her ever since. Since the election, there's been a noticeable tension between the Yentas on The View. For years, the ladies have been given the freedom to spread propaganda. They were given the freedom to create false narratives. Basically, the Yentas have been given the opportunity to lie without consequence. But all that changed early November when the Trumper took back the White House. Ratings throughout cable news plummeted. CNN, MSNBC lost half their audience. There were layoffs. There were budgets cuts. Rachel Maddow lost $5 million in salary. MSNBC eliminated the budget for weaves, which forced the wicked weave Joy Reid to become the balding beauty. And the balding happened rapidly. The artist formerly known as Weave went from having a receding hairline to a non-existent hairline. There was no longer a need to pay the barber because there was nothing left to cut. In order to prevent a mass exodus with their audience, executives at ABC, they began thinking of ways to normalize The View. Instead of targeting lonely women, ABC wanted to make the show attractive to normal women. They told the Yentas to tone down their rhetoric. If they didn't comply with these demands, ABC threatened to bring conservative voices onto the show. Translation: comply or you're fired. As a result, seems like Alyssa Farah Griffin, the Yenta formerly known as the Great Pretender, it seems like Alyssa Farah Griffin has decided to comply with these demands. Over the last couple of months, there's been a noticeable shift with the former pretender. She's become the voice of reason. There's been times where she is outright defending Donald Trump. Now, this defense of the Orange Man, it's caused the symptoms of stage 4 OMB, Orange Man bad! Defending the Orange Man has caused the symptoms of OMB to be uncontrollable, which is exactly what happened yesterday morning as Uncle Casey's favorite Yenta, Asuncion, once again lost her temper and made a complete fool of herself. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I apologize if I don't seem like myself this morning. Flu has been going around and I think I've got it. My mind is complete mush right now. I'm definitely not operating at 100%. But, this is not the NBA where we take off over the flu. We fight through it. Let's go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Certa Shame. Have you ever wanted to tell a politician exactly what you think of them, but in a way that's safe, effective, and funny at the same time? Well, now you can with Certa Shame, the ultimate way to hold politicians accountable and have a good time while doing so. From Johnny B. Biden to cackling Cam Harris, Certa Shame lets you send comedic certificates to the politicians who piss you off. Whether they have been lying, lazy, or downright incompetent, Certa Shame has you covered. Want to call out the liar in chief or maybe award a mass invasion maestro? Certa Shame has dozens of options for every broken promise or incompetent blunder. And here's the best part. These personalized participation awards, they are mailed directly to the politician of your choice anonymously. It is the perfect way to vent your frustrations and let them know you're pissed off without ever having to say a word. So click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Save 10% off your first certificate with CertiShame. Yesterday morning, the Yentas were talking about illegal immigration, or as deacons at Woke United Methodist prefer to call it, innocent birthing persons who are being illegally detained by a tyrannical regime because they forgot their papers. During the 4 years with Johnny B. Biden, all you needed to cross the border legally was an invitation to the Butt Bongo Festival. If you lost your invitation on the first-class flight from Guatemala to El Paso, cackling Cam Harris, she would provide a complimentary invitation once you landed. Everyone is welcome. America is for everyone! With the Trumper, things are a bit different. If you cross the border illegally, you'll be returning home with new jewelry around your wrist, and you won't be flying first class. You'll have a first class ticket on the Bruce Caboose as it takes you to jail. Now, according to Asuncion, there is a reason that the Trumper is so focused on immigration. More specifically, there's a reason that the Trumper is focused on the southern border. It's not because illegal immigration was the foundation of his campaign. It's not because the Trumper wants to protect the sovereignty of the country. It's not because he wants to fight the cartels. No! According to Sunny Hostin, there is a logical explanation as to why the Orange Man is savagely attacking the southern border. Mythical racism. 4 months ago, Sunny Hostin, she would have been able to spread this lie with impunity. She would release this toxic mouth fart, and Alyssa Farah Griffin, she would be sitting there next to her with a fan, making sure the fragrance was blowing in her direction. But now, Alyssa Farah Griffin, she is fighting toxic mouth farts with lethal Febreze. She is refusing to allow Sunny Hostin to spread lies. She constantly interrupts the propaganda, which naturally causes Sunny Hostin to briefly lose her temper. Watch for yourself.
But I think what's fascinating to me is that, yes, he ran on immigration, and he ran really on the southern border, because we know we also border Canada, and that's actually the largest border, but they're not really going into Canada and looking for those Canadian people that are kind of jumping back and forth.
This is a misnomer. It's not Canadians that come across the northern border. The northern border crisis, no, it's people coming from other parts of the world, India, Mexico. But there's not a bunch of Canadians flocking. There's probably more Americans going to Canada right now.
That's not true, because I spoke to Governor Whitmer about it. But let me just
that was a misunderstanding.
Can I just can I just finish what I was saying?
Yeah.
So that I don't,
6,000 Canadians.
So that I don't lose my thought. He was all about immigration from the southern border. And those immigrants or those migrants look a certain way.
Can I just clarify, though?
Can I finish talking?
Yes.
Thank you.
I want somebody to make a decision about immigration, because if you're saying if you got enough money, you can come, but if you don't have the money, we don't want to take care of it. I want somebody to make a decision. Yes, I get that's in
Kamala Harris said, do not come. She went to the southern border and said that.
Just let me finish now this time.
I'm so glad we have Sunny Hostin. I am so glad we have the great philosopher Asuncion to teach us plebes about illegal immigration. Did you know we have a northern border? Why aren't we protecting ourselves against Canada? I'll tell you why, Mr. or Mrs. Mister. It's racism, damn it! The Orange Man hates the color brown! Poor Whoopi Goldberg. She seems so confused over the issue of immigration. She doesn't seem to understand the policy. She doesn't seem to understand the reasoning, which is understandable. I mean, the whoopee cushion. She's only an expert in the field of gas out the ass. So let Uncle Casey explain immigration. To me, immigration is similar to employment. It's transactional. When you apply for a job, company wants to know what you can offer them. You want to know what they can offer you. If Roto-Rooter is looking for a master plumber and you think a plunger is supposed to be used to cut the grass, you're not going to get the job. You have nothing to offer. You're no benefit to the company. It's the same thing with immigration. We want people willing to work. I don't care what kind of work it is, white collar, blue collar, roofer, doctor. If you prove your worth, if you prove your value, you're more than welcome to come over here. What we don't want is the immigration policy that John Biden was using, where other countries were sending us their prisoners. They were sending us the people that didn't want to work and expected to be taken care of. Families were leaving straw huts and staying at the Four Seasons. Now, I don't blame them. I don't blame them for that. I blame John Biden. If my house collapsed every time my dog peed on my straw wall and some doofus was offering me free room and board at the Four Seasons, I'm accepting that offer too. I'm telling you, something is going on with The View. There is a noticeable change. And look, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. One of the reasons that I no longer watch First Take or just about anything on ESPN, everyone is constantly agreeing with each other. Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp, hey, it's me, Shay Shay. This weird bromance between Shay and A, it's boring. Yesterday was one of the best segments that I have seen on First Take in years because Chris Russo and Stephen A., they were arguing with each other. It wasn't disrespectful, but it was entertaining. And the reason it was entertaining is because we were given two completely different viewpoints. No one wants to watch people who constantly agree with each other, which is exactly what The View has become over the last decade. 5 lying yentas agreeing with each other's lies. But now there's disagreement. Now, Alyssa Farah Griffin is willing to speak up and dispute the obvious lies. To be honest with you, it makes it more entertaining. Tension is good television. Disagreement makes good TV. Think about it. Think about your favorite show, whether it's a reality show or a scripted drama. I guarantee you, the reason you watch the show is because of the potential controversy, the tension, the fights, the arguments. No one wants to watch people who get along. For the better part of a decade, that's what The View has been. 5 women getting along. Lonely women might find that entertaining, but no one else does. Give me your thoughts on this. The yentas on The View are fighting again. Do you think this tension is driven by the threat of ABC bringing in conservative voices? Whatever the reason, do you think the disagreements make the show better? Now, don't get me wrong. The View still sucks, but to me, television is always better when there's conflict. Give me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.